It's your friendly neighborhood laser lady, and I've spent a few months with both the WeCreat Lumos and the WeCreat Vista FlipLaser, and I thought I knew what they were capable of. But after putting them through these 8 grueling challenges, the results have me rethinking everything. This isn't just a review, it's a head-to-head, point-by-point battle across 8 common questions people have been asking me, like, which one is faster, which one is more versatile, and which one has the most potential for profits? Well, I've got the answers, and the battle starts now. Let's meet the contenders. My WeCreat Vista FlipLaser has a 10-watt diode laser head as well as a 2-watt infrared laser head, both which can be flipped down so we can use the rotary attachment without losing any of the compact profile of just 6 inches tall. And the WeCreat Lumos features a 3-watt infrared laser and 10-watt diode laser encased in a single module. Not only that comes with a portable handle, but it's just so compact and awesome in itself. We will be using the Make It program for both of these, which comes with both lasers. So let's get to that first challenge. The Big Job Challenge. Now, this first one might seem a little obvious because the WeCreat Vista is obviously bigger, but it might surprise you that the Lumos has a unique extension bed. This simply plugs into your Lumos laser and immediately extends your laserable space by just over 20 inches. Using the WeCreat Make It program makes it even easier to use. And what's so cool about this extension bed is you can actually pair it with the rotary attachment and extend your rotary ability length as well. I'm going to be making a little bit of a secret. Let's cut it out with my Lumos. I like to go over my cut lines on a low power and a couple of passes for this machine. Of course, to suck up those fumes, I am using my portable fume extractor cube. Highly recommend this. The WeCreat Vista, of course, cuts out this MDF like butter. The only difference so far in the cuts is that the Lumos has a little bit crispier of an edge. Now let's take it outside to paint. The chickens are very interested, and for good reason. With just a few coats of spray paint and some watered down glue and glitter, they are done. Have you been able to guess what these are? Gummy worms? Of course. Why not? I believe the extension slider for the Lumos is best used for making smaller projects in bulk. You can also engrave with the extension bed and a whole bunch more, but obviously we cannot get the same height as with the Vista. I must say you really can't tell which gummy worm is from which laser. Even though they turned out exactly the same, I'm going to award the big project points to the Vista. Number 2, the 3D Object Challenge. Let's see who can engrave a concave surface the best. The first thing I need to do is switch over my WeCreat Vista to the infrared laser head. You can literally just unscrew the 4 screws, unplug the air assist and ribbon cable, and then plug in the 2-watt infrared laser head and screw it on. Boom, done. I needed the infrared laser head so we can engrave these nice concave metal spoons. I just get it all snuggy in the laser by rising up one end of the spoon and taping it down so it doesn't move around anywhere when engraving. I tried to guess the middle focal range of the tallest point and lowest point of the engraving area. The settings are for a pretty deep engraving, so let's see how it does. It looks a little bit light, and on the right side, it is a bit discolored, I think because it wasn't quite focused, though you can see the detail is still pretty defined. Not too bad, but not quite what we're going for. In the Lumos, I also propped up the one side and made sure I am focusing in the midpoint of the top and bottom of my engraving area. Using the exact same settings for the Vista, let's see how it turns out on the Lumos. It only took a couple of minutes. So far, it seems to be much darker, and I've got to say it looks amazing no matter at the top or bottom areas of this concave spoon. I think we have a clear winner here, even though both are quite detailed. The darker, better engraving is the Lumos. Congratulations. The Color Engraving Challenge. Now, obviously, the WeCreat Vista is just plain not capable of color engraving, well, so far at any rate, so we can go ahead and award the point to the Lumos, but we at least have to see how good it can do with color. The process is pretty simple. You just choose your stainless steel or other appropriate metal material, stick that into the Lumos, and start the color array process. It's going to engrave a selection under a specific focal distance. You pick one of the colors that you like and you engrave a color array. With that color array, you can then use the specific speed and power settings from the chart to set your design to those specific colors. Make sure you have the color engraving toggle on with your focal distance number and get started with engraving. Depending on the size and design, it might take a little bit of time. You can achieve amazing designs, especially with small things like jewelry, which happens to be one of my favorite things to make. As you can see, the color is quite amazing, so congrats to the Lumos for that point. Number 4, the Portability Challenge. If you want to do on-site events like craft fairs, which one is easier to transport and set up? Well, I think we know the answer to that, and it's going to be the Lumos. But to be quite honest, you could set up the Vista anywhere so long as you have the ability to do so. However, the Lumos is obviously designed for exactly this, and it's something I've actually done before. But that's not all. When I took this to a cat convention not too long ago, I found out that making blanks with my Vista came in super handy for the Lumos at the event. So with their powers combined, it made for a very successful convention. But of course, we're going to have to award the point to the Lumos again. I mean, it comes with a handle, for crying out loud. Number 5, the Cylindrical Challenge. Let's call this the rotary race, people. Now, this one is going to be tough because I have a rotary for the WeCreat Vista, which I have used extensively, and I don't have one for the Lumos. However, you can get a rotary attachment for your Lumos. I have made ceramic pots engraved for cat grass, as well as metal tea containers and tumblers galore, of course. But the Lumos has an attachment which can be paired with that extension bed I mentioned before, making long cylindrical items available for engraving with ease and on the go. So even though I can't compare these side by side necessarily, I think we can conclude that this one is a tie. Number 6, the Fine Detail Challenge. Let's see how intricate these babies can go. Honestly, this is my most anticipated challenge. We will be using these extremely small stainless steel, rose-colored, gorgeous heart-shaped pendants for fine detail using an intricate and adorable, guess what? It's a cat design. Let's see how the Lumos handles it. Using the Make It program, we're able to get it perfectly aligned with our settings. Making sure we are on the red light setting, let's get to engraving. Here is the engraving in real time. As you can see, it's going pretty fast, especially on such a small object. One thing I like about the Lumos is after engraving, it goes over the edges with a vector line, which really makes the designs pop. This is a feature that can be turned off though if it's not your thing or doesn't work well with your design. I think it turned out extremely detailed, extremely defined, and super duper dark and adorable. Of course, I love cats. Have you noticed yet? Anyway, now let's try it with the Vista. I'm going to put a piece of wood in there so the pendant has something to lay on top of. I did put a piece of tape underneath the pendant so it doesn't wiggle around too much as well. As you can see, it turned out pretty good with the same exact settings. It was a little misaligned, and that is just because I need to align the camera to accommodate such small pieces, which this is actually an easy enough setting to fix for these petite projects in the Make It program. Compared next to each other, even though the Vista is very detailed, it's not nearly as dark. So we have to award a point to the Lumos again. Number 7, the Materials Challenge. What can these lasers laser? We could be doing this all day long, so let's just choose a few popular materials and compare their abilities with the same settings for both machines. First, let's try to engrave and cut out some wood. These earring pendants turned out beautifully. Next up, we have some felt. Laser cutting felt actually helps seal up the edges, which I'm a big fan of. Now we have a vegan leather sticker patch, which engraved pretty good on the Vista. It's just hard to see the contrast. I have a blue one for the Lumos. and that engraving turned out much lighter, probably just because of the color of the patch and what it's made out of. Next up, one of my favorite materials is a two-toned acrylic. We have brushed silver on top and black underneath, so when you engrave it, you can see all the amazing detail. I just cut a little piece for the Lumos, and the engraving is very precise, but it was a little crispy around the edges. Next, let's see how big we can go with this adorable cat. So cute. We'll make a mini version with the Lumos because it can't make something that big, obviously. My first try got a little crispy around the edges again, so I troubleshot. So I increased the speed, lowered the power, and increased the passes to 3 times around, and that cut out perfectly. The engraving turned out pretty good as well. Now let's do a side-by-side comparison. It looks like the engraving is a bit darker with the same settings on the Vista for these earring pendants. The felt got a little squiggly in the Lumos compared to the Vista. The patches are not actual leather, and the engraving color seems to vary quite a bit. I think it's just the color of the patches. I really like the blue one. I might just go ahead and get some more of those for my own projects. The two-toned acrylic is extremely similar. You wouldn't know the difference if it weren't for the crispy edges, and after the troubleshooting, I'm sure you wouldn't if I tried it again. The big and little kitten duo looks almost exactly the same if it weren't for the bit darker engraving of the Vista. And the size, of course. The material list available for both of these lasers is extensive and nearly the exact same. There's no way to pick a definite winner for this one, so I have to call it a tie again. We've got just one more challenge to go. Number 8, the Desktop Powerhouse Challenge. Both machines have a relatively small desktop footprint. The Vista is a highly capable desktop machine with its flip feature for cylindrical items, so the height of this machine is actually only about 6 inches, so it's pretty small, and you can pick which color you get, so it's adorable. The Lumos can take up slightly more space with the extension accessory, but that's optional. It also offers industrial-grade capabilities in a highly portable form. There are oodles of add-ons for both machines that can increase your cutting area, rotary capabilities, and portability. In fact, the Lumos, you can actually get a cone to make the machine even more portable, and you can take it to larger objects you might not be able to fit underneath a laser otherwise. Plus, WeCreat as a company is always coming out with new upgrades to their machines and software. So who do you choose? I use both often and for much different reasons. Ask yourself what it is you'd like to accomplish with your crafting or for your business needs. Do you want to make products right before your customers' eyes? Do you want to bulk up your merchandise with larger signs and decor? Do you want to focus on customizing delicate jewelry pieces? Or do you want an all-in-one crafting powerhouse? You are only limited to your imagination, and if you stick with me, I promise to keep you full of crafty ideas. Check out my codes below to see how much you can save on either of these awesome machines. And please write down any questions you have below, and I will try my very best to answer every single one of them. If you'd like to see what it's like taking this portable Lumos laser to a cat convention, then check out this video next. Thanks for watching and happy crafting!